So when I listened to Joe talking about a transition, there's been no transition from when I won. I won that election. And if you look at crooked Hillary Clinton, if you look at all of the different people, there was no transition because they came after me trying to do a coup. They came after me spying on my campaign. They started from the day I won and even before I won, from the day I came down the escalator with our first lady. They were a disaster. They were a disgrace to our country. And we've caught them. We've caught them all. We've got it all on tape. We've caught them all. And by the way, you gave the idea for the Logan Act against General Flynn. You better take a look at that because we caught you in a sense. And President Obama was sitting in the office. He knew about it, too. So don't tell me about a free transition.
Director Gabbard, thank you. So just two questions, but to begin on that. The president yesterday, you've inferred that the former president helped lead a coup. Based on what you now see, do you believe President Obama is guilty of treason?
I'm leaving the criminal charges to the Department of Justice. I am not an attorney, but as I've said previously, when you look at the intent behind creating a fake manufactured intelligence document that directly contradicts multiple assessments that were created by the intelligence community, the expressed intent and what followed afterward can only be described as a years-long coup and a treasonous conspiracy against the American people, our republic, and an attempt to undermine President Trump's administration.
No one, especially the president, is above the law.
No one 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 is above the law, right? Democrats, you guys started this mess. And this is the political karma that I'm talking about. In this video, I'm going to focus on the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard's statements, and how the media and the liberals in large are reacting to it. Because it's like they got him. Like he got them. Like all the declassified information, right? All of a sudden, Democrats don't want to trust the authorities anymore. When they push out the fake Russian hoax, 17 intelligence agents said this is true. They backed the claim, essentially fabricating evidence, essentially fabricating an intelligence report using the authority that, oh, agents said this, agents created a report, it must be true, and reported it as fact. This is ridiculous. This is some crazy ish right here. And it's no wonder Trump feels like Obama committed treason. And I think he did. You went out of your way to undermine your successor. And that's why I showed you the video in the 2020 election, the 2020 debate between him and Biden. Why I showed you, a little snippet of what she briefed on. And the craziness is, if you see how these CNN people reacted over this stuff, it's crazy. Breaking, James Clapper admits he's concerned about prosecution and has lawyered up. You can even hear the trembling in his voice. Good. That's the sound of someone who just found out he's not above the law. And I think this is the double standards that Democrats get called out for, is that they spent years with the slogan, no one is above the law. But in their mind, they finished the sentence, except a Democrat. And now there's an opportunity for Republicans to do the exact same thing. And I think they should. Because sometimes Democrats are like children. They only learn when they finally get burned. And I think it's time for them to finally get burned. And with all this evidence, with all the years of going after a former president, they already set the precedent to, it's like Democrats made the rope to hang themselves with. This is a DJ Khaled moment for the Democratic parties. You play yourself. Because Donald Trump gave Hillary Clinton, he let her off. He didn't go after her. And instead of returning the same courtesy, you went after him? Come on. I don't know how this politically hurts Donald Trump. I don't think it will ever hurt politically Donald Trump because of the fact that they did this to him. And everyone's like, well, if you do it to him, why not do it to Obama? You did it to him. Why not do it to Obama? Biden. I don't think he's going to get the political blowback that Democrats are counting on. But let's look at this clip. If you haven't gotten a chance to watch it, I think it was a 6-minute briefing. But I kind of disseminated to 2 or 3 important clips, depending on how I feel about this video. So here's a clip of couple of clips of Tulsi Gabbard briefing on the information there and who it implicates actually, because it sounds like Russia was actually trying to protect Hillary Clinton until they can expose this information until after she won the election. But I digress. Let's get into the clips.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. At President Trump's direction and with the support and coordination with the House Intelligence Committee Chairman Rick Crawford, today we've released a declassified Oversight Majority Staff report that was produced in September of 2020. The stunning revelations that we are releasing today should be of concern to every American. This is not about Democrats or Republicans. This has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic and American voters having faith that the votes cast will count. There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't. The report that we released today shows in great detail how they carried this out. They manufactured findings from shoddy sources. They suppressed evidence and credible intelligence that disproved their false claims. They disobeyed traditional tradecraft intelligence community standards and withheld the truth from the American people. In doing so, they conspired to subvert the will of the American people who elected Donald Trump in that election in November of 2016. They worked with their partners in the media to promote this lie, ultimately to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump and launching what would be a years-long coup against him and his administration. I'm going to go over the key findings from the House Intelligence Report, which investigated the claims that were made by an intelligence community assessment ordered by President Obama and published in January of 2017. First, Putin's principal interests relating to the 2016 election were to undermine faith in the U.S. democratic process, not show any preference of a certain candidate. In fact, this report shows Putin held back from leaking compromising material on Hillary Clinton prior to the election, instead planning to release it after the election to weaken what Moscow viewed as an inevitable Clinton presidency. In the January 2017 intelligence community assessment that President Obama ordered, John Brennan, who was CIA director at the time, and the intelligence community intentionally suppressed intelligence that showed Putin was saving the most damaging material that he had in his possession about Hillary Clinton until after her potential and likely victory. The report goes into great detail about the information that Russia and Putin had on Hillary Clinton, which included possible criminal acts like secret meetings with multiple named U.S. religious organizations in which State Department officials offered, in exchange for supporting Secretary Clinton's campaign for the presidency, significant increases in financing from the State Department.
And this is why a lot of people claim that CNN does damage control with the Obama administration. CNN should take Tulsi Gabbard's advice and stop running cover for the Obama administration. Tulsi, I'm not asking you to take my word for it. I'm asking you, you in the media, to conduct honest journalism and the American people to see for themselves. Is this honest journalism here, guys? Damage control. Fake news. CNN cuts away just as Tulsi Gabbard outlines the length to which the Obama administration went to manufacture the Russian hoax.
Nor capability to impact the outcome of the U.S. election. On December 5th.
We've been listening there to the Director of National Intelligence.
So isn't that strange? Isn't that strange? They came in and trying to tell you or trying to monologue over what she was saying, right? This is not journalism, right? It's not journalism to come out and, try to create a story, right? This is Caitlin Collins, someone who's avidly against Trump. Like you see her interactions with Trump. So we know her bias already. We know she doesn't like Donald Trump. And she tries to make a claim about how what Marco Rubio said contradicts what she said, essentially trying to cast doubt on some of the statements and summaries that she outlined in that briefing.
Just on this, Director Gabbard, you referenced the past intelligence reports and assessments on this, including that 2017 one that was signed off, as Ed noted, by every Republican on the Senate Intelligence Community, including the acting chair of the time, now Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who said in a statement that they did not find any evidence of Russian collusion, but they did find, however, is very troubling, and they found irrefutable evidence of Russian meddling. One, are you saying that he's wrong in that statement that he made then? And secondly, What would you say to people who believe that you're only releasing these documents now to improve your standing with the president after he said that your intelligence assessments were wrong?
Well, first, I want to correct something that you stated, which was citing the Senate Intelligence Committee's report as being one and the same. I think you said the intelligence community. The Senate Intelligence Committee has a very different function than the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. The evidence and the intelligence that has been declassified and released is irrefutable. I'm going to let Caroline speak to Secretary Rubio.
I'll speak to both questions. First, on Secretary Rubio, he put out a statement in 2020 following that Senate Intelligence Committee report, and he said what they found is troubling. We found irrefutable evidence of Russian meddling, which the Director of National Intelligence just confirmed for all of you, that Russia was trying to sow distrust and chaos. But what's the outrage in this that Secretary Rubio did not say at the time, the Democrats were saying at the time, is the fact that the intelligence community was concocting this narrative that the president colluded with the Russians, that the president's son was holding secret meetings with the Russians, all of these lies that were never true. And he also said at that time, we discovered deeply troubling actions taken by the FBI under Comey, particularly their acceptance and willingness to rely on the Steele dossier without verifying its methodology or sourcing. The Steele dossier that many outlets in this room ran as the gospel truth, and it was cooked up and paid for by the Clinton campaign. As for your second question, Caitlin, I think who is saying that she would release this to try to boost her standing with the president? Who has said that?
Well, the president has publicly undermined her when it came to Iran. He said she was wrong. He told me that she didn't know what she was talking about. That was on Air Force One on camera.
The only people who are suggesting that the Director of National Intelligence would release evidence to try to boost her standing with the president are the people in this room who constantly try to sow distrust and chaos amongst the president's cabinet, and it is not working. I will just answer your question directly. I am with the President of the United States every day. He has the utmost confidence in Director Gabbard. He always has. He continues to, and that is true of his entire cabinet, who is all working as one team to deliver on the promises this president made.
And Caitlin Collins had the goal to say on some night show, some late night show, that CNN is objective journalism. Does that sound like honest journalism to you guys? I don't think so. To try to sow distrust, make a statement that was like, what, 5 years ago, referencing a different source of material that Tulsi Gabbard was declassifying, and then make an assumption, make an interpretation, oh, Donald Trump don't trust her. This is a bid into getting good favor with him. Who said that? She said that. She was thinking that, and she made it sound like it was some narrative, some broader narrative being perpetrated by the public or by Republicans. This is the kind of disingenuous game that many people are starting to notice about CNN, starting to notice a lot about liberal news channels and liberal news content, is that there's always this veneer of interpretation. They're always trying to prescribe what reality is telling you because they're trying to get you to reach their conclusions, and they filter out anything that's inconvenient to the conclusions that they want you to have. And on this panel, I think I gave enough context leading up to this panel, so I guess you guys have enough information. So when these guys start talking, it doesn't really make sense, right? Because they made a whole kind of media blitz about what 17 intelligence agents claimed about Donald Trump using fabricated reports. But all of a sudden, when this report or this classification is working against them and their darling Obama, all of a sudden it's baseless. It's accusations. But where was this kind of narrative about the Steele dossier, about the Russian collusion hoax? Where was that? Where was it? Nowhere to be found. But all of a sudden, when it's Trump's people doing it, you respect the position or you don't respect the decision. Make it make sense. You do the fallacy of authority when it benefits you. Oh, 17 federal agents said that this is true, that the Steele dossier, and they have evidence against Donald Trump colluding with Russia. Media took it as gospel. But now the Director of National Intelligence declassified reports that Obama and these guys, Clapper and all these people, oh, it's baseless accusations of a coup. Make it make sense. What's the motive then? Prescribe a motive. Give me an alternative motive for why Obama will allow a report that they know is not true, that their own intelligence disproved already, but they withheld it from the public to put out a narrative about Donald Trump to undermine his administration. What would you call that? I don't know. That's what a liberal will tell me. But let's get into the clip. Let's see how this debate unfolds in real time.
Here's the scandal.
Oh, do tell.
No votes, you just said, and I think you're right. Maybe they tried. It had no impact on the election. The scandal is this, that high-ranking Democrats abuse their intelligence positions to try to convince half the American people and one entire political party that Russia stole the 2016 election. And they succeeded. Today it is an article of faith among Democrats.
How did they? I think, Scott, you have to actually back that up. How did they do that, in your opinion? I mean, you're alleging that there was a conspiracy led by Obama to say that Russia changed the votes, which they did not say. So what are you talking about exactly?
I'm telling you that the program was this. They were shocked that Donald Trump won the election. They couldn't believe it. No. And so these people, I don't know who is responsible for it ultimately, but it deserves investigation.
Oh, wait a minute, just a minute ago, you were saying the Wall Street Journal.
Why don't you let me finish? These people wanted the
This is the funny part. They making this is the same panel that's alleging all kinds of conspiracies, all kinds of things about Trump's relationship with Epstein. Trump's good friend Epstein. They're the ones making all these kind of assertions. But when Scott Jennings is doing it about their boy, their guy, Hussein Obama, Barack Hussein Obama, when we make assertions about what his motivations were, his involvement in all this, because he's the president of the United States, he gets briefings every day. You don't think he was briefed about this? It warrants an investigation. They do the same playbook. They do the same pattern every single time. They did the same thing with Joe Biden and his son making money off of his father's political influence. And when we wanted to investigate that, they did everything to undermine it, make excuses for it, and eventually the media stopped covering it. They stopped giving it attention. They stopped giving it oxygen. But they want to give the Epstein stuff oxygen. But then Trump lays out this stuff, which to me is more breaking news. Oh, no. Oh, it's baseless. Look at you. You're grasping at straws.
That it was an illegitimate president. That was the point.
The Obama deep state, multiple officials.
Yes. So what about
I sat here night after night on panel after panel.
Let's all calm down. Let's simmer down now. Okay, listen. Is Marco Rubio in the Obama deep state?
No, but this is
Marco Rubio in the Obama deep state?
No, but you are.
How is that? Okay,
that.
let's just bring it back to the facts here. Is Marco Rubio in the Obama deep state?
Did he author the Steele dossier?
Oh, yeah. Okay, Senator, Ambassador. Let me go to you on this because
see how she tried to deflect. We all know what Marco Rubio was referencing wasn't accurate. It wasn't accurate. It came from a different source than what Tulsi Gabbard's referencing, but she's trying to use it for a narrative. And she got caught because these two people are on her butt. And she like simmered down, like the smugness, bro. One thing liberals never lose, whether they win, lose, whether they're down and out, they never lose that cockiness. They never lose that condescending nature of them. But I digress. Let's continue.
There was a bipartisan committee that looked into this. That bipartisan committee was led in part by Marco Rubio. And they concluded what? What did they conclude? Was it that Russia interfered in the election or that Russia did not?
Well, then Russia interfered. They always do.
Okay. So is Marco Rubio...
It didn't change a vote.
It didn't, but what do people believe? What do people believe?
So hold on a second.
Is
this about what the intelligence community concluded, or is it about what you think the public believes? Are those two things the same, or are they different?
Abby, why would they believe it if they weren't
told
that by their government? They were told that by the White House.
If you are accusing people of...
If you look at all the news outlets, I wish there was a way that Scott Jennings can bring clips into the show. Because he would have probably brought a clip of all the people who allowed them to say, the Russians stole the election for Donald Trump. Donald Trump can't admit Russia's involvement because then it will prove that he only beat Hillary Clinton because of Russia. And he can't have that. It will undermine his presidency. You had liberals saying this time and time again on network after network after network. And Abby Phillips expect you to have a short memory. This happened 5 years ago, guys. The internet is undefeated. The internet have a bunch of receipts. All you have to do is go back to these same news channels, CNN, right? Wasn't it Chris Cuomo saying that, yeah, it's a fact that Russia interfered in the election and it could possibly had helped Donald Trump. Y'all was making these connections time and time again. But now, oh, you're making baseless accusations. Abby Phillips, you must think we're slow.
Okay.
I don't know if it's criminal, but it deserves
you
investigation.
might want to have your facts in order because
the
you
facts
can't.
are this. They told people
Hold on a
Russia stole
second.
the election.
Scott,
That's what they told
you
you.
cannot criminalize. You cannot target people
I didn't
with the
criminalize
law.
anything. I think it deserves investigation.
By saying that they authored an
I have no
assessment that
authority
says
to target
in
anybody.
plain
And
text what
something.
Russia. Hold on a second. It says in plain text what Russia did in the election, and then you want to punish them for what people believe?
Yes, I want to punish them and investigate them.
That is absolutely wrong.
For leading the United States down this ridiculous black hole.
Two points. One in response to Scott, and one about the.
Look at the panel. 3 liberals, 4 liberals on the table, 2 conservatives, maybe the lady in the pink, and Scott Jennings. You got lib. Oh wait, sorry, a Republican pretending to be a liberal pretending to be Republican, and I'm talking about Anna Navarro, and then you got Abby Phillips. 4 people who don't like Trump versus 2 people who are neutral or leans towards Trump. And she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to you," and it builds this fake consensus, right? A message to you. Oh, these 2 are out of their walkers. Look at almost every other person on the panel disagrees. This is my problem with the lopsided table here.
First of all, in the last segment, Scott was complaining because the Wall Street Journal was reporting factually based sourced arguments, information.
Unverified hearsay was the term.
Factually based sourced information. And now he comes on making wild accusations with no factual basis. So there's a hypocrisy there. Wait. Let me say something here. You just spent the last half hour, Scott. You spent the last half hour monopolizing.
Anna, just give me 1 second. Let me let Keith finish his point, and then we can continue. Go ahead, Keith.
First of all, I wouldn't take the Lord's name in vain on.
Well, you have pretty much. So
Scott, give us a moment.
Secondly, and this is the point that I think is the larger issue. This conversation is exactly the conversation Donald Trump wants us to be having. He doesn't want us to talk about the Epstein scandal. So he threw up Tulsi Gabbard to bring out this old, unsubstantiated charge against Barack Obama, who was 3 presidents ago, to get Scott Jennings on national television, to get his base talking about that issue. It's all part of Donald Trump's plan, and Scott's playing right into it. We should be talking about how the Epstein scandal is.
You see how he infers motive, right? It can't be, oh, hey, look, the media got caught in a lie again, just like they covered Joe Biden's mental health conditions, his mental fitness, and they try to say any speculation about that is conspiracy theory, it's a cheap fake. No. He don't recognize the pattern that many people are seeing all over again. Steele dossier, fake. Russiagate, fake. Biden is sharp as a tack, fake. Oh, the Hunter laptop story is Russia disinformation, fake. He don't see the pattern here. And people are saying, yo, we got to do something about these people using their positions to cast narratives. This is why the fallacy of authority is a thing in the first place. And because now that it's working against them, now they want to use, oh, it's basic claims. There's no evidence of this. Why are you bringing in Obama? Obama's the president. It's a reasonable conclusion to come through. Like, hey, Obama might have known about this. Obama might have okayed this. And it's up to investigations to prove whether it's baseless or not your prepositions. What's your Keith? Like I don't understand this bald guy. We'll leave it up there. We'll leave it there. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, because this was a disaster. It was hard to follow, but for the most part, I think what people are tired of is people, or in this view, Democrats, abusing their government positions and use it as a way to tilt political leverage for their preferred candidates, their preferred party. I think this is where this Steele dossier stuff, the Russia collusion hoax stuff, that's where it's really that's what makes it a bombshell story, because we see it over and over again. We see the media being complicit with the Democratic Party, always running cover for them, always being their attack dogs, always trying to condition the perception of the American public. And I think this is why Republicans are having such a reaction to this, is that it just proves again, look, this is why they like to censor us. This is why they didn't like Twitter. This is why they had throttled people on Twitter, on X, when Jack Dorsey and the liberals still had control. This is why they love these committees, because they want to regulate and control what information gets filtered out and what doesn't get filtered out, because they want to what? Build consensus. That's the magic word of the Democratic Party, and that's the magic word of liberals. And even in Abby Phillips' show, I just pointed out, she had 4 anti-Trump people, including herself, and only 2 people who were neutral or pro-Trump. That's an unbalanced panel. So that way they can give this perception of, oh, Donald Trump's kooky and crazy. But they're not kooky and crazy for going along with these stories, projecting out this narrative. Because the whole point was not the transition of power, but the entire time Obama and Democrats were trying to undermine the legitimacy of Donald Trump. You have people on these news channels telling them, oh, Donald Trump should get fake briefings. We shouldn't have to tell him anything. You had Democrats saying that out loud in camera, in public. But Abby Phillips wants you to sit here and pretend that, oh, they just said, look, Russia didn't do anything. That's it. It's baffling how like they missed the point, or they intentionally don't want to understand where Scott Jennings and the other Republican was going with. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd like to hear what your thoughts and your perspective is. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share this video if you feel so inclined. It really does help me out on the algorithm. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.